designed for, by, and of working professionals. We have completed almost 35,000 learners so far. And what we achieved out of these learners are, uh, a complete set of satisfaction levels in terms of their expectations that they have counted upon us with respect to communication skills. That's our main achievement. That's our big achievement that we really boast about. Secondly, we consider simple nuances and problem areas and opportunity areas which we as a working professional face during the organization. So giving you a small example, maybe you have a presentation tomorrow, right? Or maybe you have to prepare for some review meetings again and again. Maybe you might have to have, have small discussions around certain reports with your managers every now and then. Now, with how do you cope up with the lexical resources, the good vocabularies? What sort of body language should you possess? How your rate of speech, intonations, sounds should sound? And at the same time, what exactly are you going to message them? What exactly are you going to communicate with them is what requires personal attention to details, which unfortunately any other program might not be able to give, because unfortunately all the other programs have their own set of specified curriculums and bits and pieces they might personalize for you, but they can't be individualistic learning approach altogether. So first thing that differentiates us from any other person, organization, platforms, is our individualistic learning approach. For us, each one of you is important. Your career growth is important. And we ensure that we do not take a group or a batch class, but we rather engage with you one on one, because communication is a personal affair. You just can't communicate uh, with different skills with 10 different peoples. It's not possible, right? So that's about, in nutshell, about in gear, which is a program for, by, and of working professionals. And quite obviously, when we work in a, not in a group but individually, we are able to deliver what we want, as simple as that. So so this is about our organization, about who we are. And now we move to the next slides. So, a lot of times as professionals, as I already discussed, we face issues related to communication, with masses, with groups. So for example, your boss asked you, okay, do you mind taking a team huddle tomorrow yourself? There will be 10 to different 15 people. Now immediately you you will go run out of your senses. You might feel a little burdened. Oh my god, can I just skip for this time? So we help you in formulating different formats of communication. For example, there is a town hall or a hurdle or a meeting. The three things are completely different from each other, right? When you are addressing somebody in a town hall, it's a complete different uh, quorum altogether. There are almost 150, 200 members. Your entire team is sitting in front of you, or maybe more than that, depending on the size of the organization. How do you communicate with them? What sort of connection can you establish? The way that you are going to address them, the kind of vocabulary that you're going to use them, is going to be typically different from a one-to-one meeting. It can't be the same. And at the same time, your presentation, your ability to interact with them will be zilch. There will be any option. So you might engage some props, or you might have to take some other important assistance while communicating, which sort of helps you to establish that connect with the audience. So nobody understands the way professional organization works like us, because almost all of our learners uh, and trainers are completely from corporate background. We never ever engage with people who are housewives, or students. Why? Because we have something which is in our DNA, which is corporate all our lives. So if I talk about myself, I have a total working experience of around 20 years, and I worked almost with different Fortune 500 organization in medium and senior management roles all my life. So we understand individually each one of you from the perspective of what your career growth could be and how communication impacts that, right? So now we will stick to the session today, and The session is all about emails. So, before we enter into a session, I would like to tell you, you might have a lot of questions, right? So, after the end of every slides, I will give you an opportunity to unmute yourself and ask the question. It's your responsibility because there are a lot of people to also, mute yourself after asking the question and after you are satisfied. So there will be a question answer session at the end of every slide, and also in the small curriculum that we have built for today's session for you. You might have a lot of questions, so keep asking questions, but only after the completion of the slide. Would request not in between that, right? So now, I don't know about other places, but specifically when you are talking about organizations which are behemoths, which are really large. For example, some organizations like uh, IT management service industry, or organizations which belongs to IT industry, there are 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 lakhs and lakhs of employees there, right? You might interact with them on a personal note, with only a few of them, maybe 100, 200. But majority of the communication that happens is through a channel called email, right? And of course, there is an intra chat which is available to you where you can chat. But essentially, most of the communication happens on email. Now, in such cases, we are being judged, we are being evaluated, and we are being completely sensed through the perception people form out of our presentation skills or out of our email writing skills that we deploy or that we portray in front of them. So, I'll give you a brief understanding about this through a very small example, right? So, a lot of times we see emails being written during the conversation, out of the conversation, and during several conversations that you have over the email, uh, with casual or abbreviated forms of words or abbreviated vocabulary. Now, this sort of creates a very unhealthy, and I would say a shabby perception of your personality in front of people. Now, you see, it's something which I don't care I mean, I generally don't talk about, but everybody in the organization would actually form a perception of you. Now, it so happened with me, I'll tell you a very interesting story. Somehow I was in the organization for the first few weeks, and one of my colleague happens to be uh, along with me in the training for the initial 3 months in Dell, which is Dell International Services at that point in time. And during the training, uh, there was an opportunity where we had to conduct a small CSR activity. And there, all the who's, including the site directors and everyone, was about to come. Now, they did not recognize me, they did not know me, they did not even have any perception of me because I was very new to the organization, almost a month old. So, while that is all is happening, uh, you know, out of 200 people, I got the opportunity to present or to actually be selected out of those 200 people and nominated for this conducting the CSR activity. The purpose was to actually go there, say a few words about the organization, talk about the organization, and of course, execute a few operational things during the CSR activity. We were actually going to a school. So the reason why I was selected out of those 200 people was just email. My bosses did not know about me. My senior managers did not know about me. I did not have a personal interaction with them ever. Neither I knew them from my previous organizations at all. So the way I used to write emails, the words that I used to know, they got to have the feeling that I might be able to do this job better than others, right? So this is just a small example. There are many such examples, and I'm sure you guys also would recollect a lot of examples like that. And you would always find that bosses and people within your organization are simply writing better emails, and you always look up to them as a senior person, as a senior professional, with the way that they write the email. So your perception is formed. So be very, very ultra careful, utmost sincere when you are writing emails in the organization. It's just not about the email, but also about the perception that people form. And let me tell you, perception sticks to people's mind. They do not go away like that, right? So irrespective of whatever you may do, it takes some time for that perception to go away, right? For example, we know that there are so many other leaders within the organization where you have a perception that you have built in the initial few days, and you might have had layers of other perceptions built, but the core perception remains there and there. So generally you are supposed to take care of your emails very sincerely, should not be using the abbreviated forms and casual writing skills. Those are not at all appreciated. Okay. Now, just a small, you know, uh, again, a small representation of if you write an email which has a correct subject line and a clear cut salutation describing about the person or greeting the person or talking about something which is very relevant and to the point and topical, you would see immediately the person, the picture that comes in your mind is of a professional person who is wearing you know a blue collar shirt with stuck pants, and he's like well dressed, well combed, and sort of also brings up a smiling face, right? So that's the perception people form of you when you write emails. Now, a lot of you might see this as a small opportunity, but let me tell you, when you work for bigger organizations, perception plays a hugely important role. And why we can say that? Because we have experienced professionalism around 18 to 20 years into different organizations, and this is not something which we are discussing around uh, content based learning, but it is something which is experiential learning out of our own journey that we have spent. So quite possibly this is what we sort of want to build in your mind, in your framework, in your structure of things, that emails should be taken care with utmost sincerity. Take some time, pause yourself, think poised, write better emails, proofread it, and then send it. Do not rush. And at the same time, as a healthy habit, I will always tell you that generally I used to schedule my conveyance to the organization, if at all they are providing, or if I'm traveling by my own car, half an hour before the scheduled time, generally. Because when you approach the office, right, the 30 minutes before you start your session, before you start your work, is very crucial. You actually about to take a sprint race, so you are warming up your body, right? It's just like that. So as a healthy habit, when I used to go to office, half an hour before, I always make sure that I'm available to a lot of positive energies, and I sort of also clear off my emails or see what I need to respond. If at all there's no point, I mean, there is no time where I can review and write all the emails within 30 minutes. I would rather make a note of the important emails, bookmark them, or mark them with some color notions, and make sure that I respond to them with, and I have something in my mind. But I should not be hurrying up, because generally what happens is, whatever the emails that you have received, uh, there could be some important and unimportant ones. So when you are during the office hours, when you are have huge amount of workload, you might end up making a small error. There is a possibility. So generally, the bigger emails, the ones that you're going to send it to your super bosses, make sure that you reply with a peace of mind. And as I said, this 30 minutes rule works wonders. It has worked wonder for me, so you can also take it. Now I'm going to move into the different part, which is the curriculum that we have built for today. And before that, I would like to take a quick update from my team, especially Aditya, Basaveshwar, and Pallavi. Guys, is there any instruction for me, or should I go to the curriculum right away? Bash, Pallavi.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Sorry, again, guys, I did not hear you.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Anubhav.
Okay, wonderful, great. So, team, any questions till now? Any confusions? Any asks? that you have? I can quickly, answer that and move to the session. Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, great. So let's move to the session. Hmm. So, okay, uh, email writing. I hope you all guys can see my screen. Everyone.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, wonderful. So, email writing is all about, uh, you know, being clear and concise. We always talk about the information clarity. The reason why we write emails is because we wanted to have a communication channel which is precisely used for only and only transaction of information, right? So when I say transaction of information, information is not at all your emotions, right? Information and not at all the behavioral part. Information is not at all about different other aspects of your mind, but is only limited to certain important data sets which you want to communicate to other people, that yes, this is what I want to tell, this is what I want to share, and these are the action items for the relevant stakeholders which are marked on the email. Never ever try to indulge into emotions and other things, but there are certain aspects of emails which would require some professional courtesy, which we are going to talk about, right? So the first thing that you have to keep in your mind is that the information is always clear and concise. Never ever try to engage into emotional aspect of things, with email. And there are certain aspects that we create with our emails which I wanted to discuss with you, and we are going to discuss with them, one by one, also when we take up a few emails in the session. But generally, I'm telling you that there are some abstract values that we always tell to people. You know, the one of the values is BP, which is be polite. Right? Why I'm telling you this is because, say suppose if you are little angry on the email and you talk about, maybe you might have had used a few phrases or words which are sarcastic. Right? Think about this. If you say these words to a common person or to your colleague, they might just hear it once and could forget it, or if not, then they might remember. But if you have written it on the email, they will read it 10 times, right? When they read it 10 times, unfortunately, they are also going to form a perception about you more strongly than you communicating just or discussing with them. So, as I said, when you are writing email, make sure your emotions do not take over. There is absolutely no place for emotions on the email. Zero. Okay. At the same time, as a professional courtesy, if you have something which is little going out of the way where you want the person to realize this, you might use a few phrases and verbs which will give you the lexical resource to communicate with them, on the guidelines or on the certain code of conduct that you have been asked within the team or within the organization as your code of conduct guidelines, but not beyond that. Why? Because it's a professional environment, professional place, not your personal place where you can discuss things and conduct and ask people to conduct them. As a manager, you might have had the liberty to have a small discussion over a chat or a message, but that's different, right? The email has to be very clearly concise and precise and should not have any role of emotions, right? Next is, uh, as a pointer we always share. uh, I think Garv Sharma is presenting. uh, okay, so as a next point is that always understand that everybody out here, because of the Google Baba or because of the current internet, which is streaming on everybody's in everybody's hands through a smartphone, has become, by the virtue of internet, a very smart person. Though the smartest thing about them is their mobile phone, of course, but still people have become smart, right? So don't assume that they will not understand what you are saying, right? In fact, they are better at understanding things than you. So as a notion, we have this, in our mind, that if we over communicate, if we talk about it, if we discuss about it, a lot of people will appreciate. No, do not over communicate, because people understand what you are telling. You need not to be again stressing on certain aspects just because you feel that they are not, right? Since it's mentioned, they are about to understand. Now, there is a small clarity that I would like to give you here. There is a difference between assertiveness and repetition, right? There could be some instances in the emails where you could assert, where could be a lot of times you might say that this is something that you have to do, this has to be done before the deadline. That is assertiveness. That is not like over communicating. So don't confuse between over communication and assertiveness. I'll show you with an example what do I mean by that in the later stages. But just keep those abstract values in your mind. Like, so I've discussed about two things. One is be polite, right? And second is don't over communicate. So keep that, right? Now, out of this context, the last point that I would like to share with you is, guys, there could be instances that we might have had missed something, the instruction, the information, professional courtesy, thank you or reiteration, salutation,
Hello.
subject line.
Sorry for
Hello.
disturb, but screen is not visible.
Okay, I'll reshare it. Is it the same that is happening with other people also?
No, I'm able to see it.
Okay, I'll reshare, don't worry. Guys, are you able to see now, everyone?
Yes,
Maheshwarji?
yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Chal, chal. Okay. Now, so just to give a quick repetition or a revision, because a lot of people have joined right now. So, guys, we discussed about a few things about emails, and we were discussing now a small curriculum that I've built for this session. We discussed about a few abstract values that we need to inculcate in ourselves as working professional when it comes to email writing. Very importantly, one of the most important aspect is being polite. As I said, that when you are polite and when you write your email with certain proficiency of politeness, you will always notice that people will appreciate that. And as I said, that in case if you are not polite and you have said a few sarcastic words or sarcasm in your email, that may percolate down to higher or a long duration of time, because unfortunately, people will read the email 10 times and they have the opportunity to do so. While you speak, they might not, because you have spoken and you have gone. That thing which have come out, maybe they have understood or they might not be impacted. But when you go ahead and uh, talk about something in the email or discuss, that is going to go a long way. Second, I said that do not over communicate. Over communicating means that at times you are sharing more information to them, which people do not like these days, right? Gone are the days when information was the king, right? Information no more is the king. The moment you send somebody a PDF file as a WhatsApp forward, he gives you 10 abuses. Oh my god, who's going to read this? This is going to happen. Why have you sent this? Because information is readily available with a process of search everywhere, right? On your mobile, on your desktop, laptop, everywhere, because internet is no more an uncommon thing. So understand this point, that other people who are there, they could also be equally competent than you. Don't assume that they are not competent in terms of understanding what you are saying, right? So do not over communicate. Trust me, this works, because I myself had been writing longer emails, and I really witnessed that a lot of people don't read it, because we share the read receipts. A lot of people don't read. The longer the email, nobody is going to read it. The smaller, the crisper the email, most people are going to read that. So over communication is not that we are going to deal. One thing as a disclaimer I would like to give here, a lot of people might confuse over communication with assertiveness, right? Assertiveness is different. For example, I'll show you. Rather, let me show it here also, otherwise there'll be a problem. So for example, this is an email where I want to write down that I need a downtime of 2 hours, right? So this is how I need to be assertive on the email. I shouldn't be writing, no, I need this, I want this, please get it arranged. If you don't, this is very important. This is like over communicating, right? Because the moment you over communicate, there are situations where people may not be able to take that positively. It's an instruction and nobody likes instruction, right? But when you highlight these points in a different, there is a way out. I'm giving you the way, but do not use the words or phrases which might sound authoritative, which mounts are, no, you have to do it, go and do it. This is not the way. As I said already, be polite, right? And this is not a part of professional cuts. So just wanted to show you how you can be assertive without over communicating. Okay. And last point that I was trying to tell everyone was proofreading. So proofreading is like, for example, you are sending a bigger email and there are certain elements in the email which are must. For example, there are attachments, there are graphs, there are grids, there are certain other elements. And when you share it with people, you might see that, you know, a certain aspect is not covered with that preciseness that you have thought or as per your expectation setting. So while proofreading, that can also be taken care of. Second thing is, at times you might feel that, or you might see that there are attachments which you have missed, or the phrases are not written correctly, or there are some hygiene issues like full stop, commas, and all. So a proofreading is must, right? Generally, we have the habit, if you are using Outlook, of doing Control Enter, or if you are using a webmail, send it. Don't send it, right? And trust me, it's just a matter of habit. It only takes 10 to 15 seconds. And I think we are not like managing satellites. We have 5, 10, 15 seconds in our lives to be devoted to emails. Why am I telling you this? Is because unfortunately, a lot of times you are trying to build a good perception, but because of proofreading, things are going wrong to people. And it so happened with me also, right? When we make some creatives and all, we get it proofread, but not by us, but somebody else, in order to make sure that the messaging comes out very clearly. There are certain elements of uh, I mean, elements which are to be concise and precise as we have expected is displayed in the same manner. All these things needed some time to think before it is being forwarded. So as a matter of fact, always take some time to hit send button. Do not rush. If you rush, unfortunately, the you will end up having some anomaly or some error in the longer duration or in the longer goal. It's, we are humans, and it's not can ever happen that we are 100% right on the same time, I mean every time. So that is the entire thing here. Now I'm going to move into more detailed parts of the email and the types of email. So I will quickly take 1 minute to ask each one of you. Up till now, everyone who have joined us, uh, do they have any questions, any doubts? You can unmute yourself one by one and you can ask.
No, sir.
Not for me.
Okay, I'll still wait for 10, 15 more seconds because there are more than like 50, 60 people. Anyone else? And as has Mayank joined in, Mayank Nigam, is Mayank there?
Yes, I have joined.
Okay, great, Mayank. Okay, guys. So
And
let's start.
I have a question, Abhinav, over this. That if we
Sure,
want
Mayank.
to be a bit assertive, if we are dealing with the higher authorities or with the higher management of the company, because
Mm-hmm,
I am into a profession in which we have to be deal with the client side and with the
mm-hmm,
senior person of that company. Okay,
mm-hmm,
and you know it. So, if the matter is for the very much important is based over a deadline, okay,
mm-hmm,
and we have to communicate with the senior directors or senior management of the company. So what should be the manner? We have to be a bit assertive to get the things done, and we can't be more stricter or with them in the email conversation. So what should be
Right.
the manner of communication with the level of person which I have to deal with? Thank you.
So I think, yeah, thank you so much, Mike. I think very nice question. So there is a very thin line when we move to the hierarchical structure of the organization. So I'll tell you from my own experience. Now, this is a very good question where you guys can see how exposure and familiarity with the professional world brings a difference. That's what NGR is all about. We bring the clear cut distinction between any other organization and us because we are truly professional. So, say, suppose I'll give you an example. There are two examples. One example is that you're writing an email to a manager for an ask that is there, right? So you would use hello, this, therefore I request you to give me this and all. So that could be a very sensible, normal email where assertiveness could be dealt with, maybe bold letters, or you might write a small phrase, right, for them to understand. That's all right. However, if you're writing this to a senior person, putting in bold is not at all acceptable because the person still feels there is an instruction, right? However, you should be using certain phrases. For example, I would like to request your kind attention. I would request you to kindly look into this. Therefore, I suggest you, sir, to kindly have a review of this. So, would, could, should, the modals, right? Those are part of our lexical resources, any which ways. Then, request, your kind consideration. All these words should come into picture. Why? Because unfortunately, if you consider both of them into one category, you are not going to, sound professional to them. Because for them, if you write a little more assertive by putting things into bold characters or highlighting them, it's sort of a little flashy for them, which they are not going to like. So I hope I am able to answer your question, man.
Yes, sir. So very well communicated, and I hope I will use such instruction over writing the mail going forward.
Great, great. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So let's go by our different types of emails. Now, so this is going to be a little more interesting. So if you guys want to have a cup of tea, water, just sit because I might stop in between. So make sure you guys have a pen and a paper handy to make notes. And at the same time, since it's going to be a good webinar you are going to use, I would suggest you guys to keep giving us a small feedback. In this, if Aditya is here, Aditya, are you there?
Yes, Anubhav, I'm there.
Okay, so Aditya, please share the link of the feedback form in the chat where everybody can simply click and fill the feedback form, not
Sending it.
just during the session but also after the session.
Okay.
Great. So guys, we regularly want feedback. So if there is anything that we have missing or you think we could do better, I'll request everyone to just take small time and give us a feedback. Okay, now coming back to different types of emails. So before we enter into the structure of emails, let me understand the types of email. So this part is most important, which is the formal introduction, operational, and instructional. Why? Because majority of our emails lands into this. So I'll take a quick moment to explain everything. So say suppose there is a small product launch, or there is a small marketing activity, or there is a small campaign, or there is a small technology project which is introduced in the organization, and you are writing about it, you are discussing about it, you are going to make people aware about it. Now this is where you will have to introduce this. Now the kind of vocabulary, the kind of presentation that you are going to do in the email, the kind of words and contemporary vocabulary that you are going to use will be little different from other. Similarly, if there is a daily transaction, for example, somebody is doing the job, have you filled this form? These are the to-do list that we have to do. These are the minutes of the meeting. These are certain action items that have to be taken care. All these are operational, right? The operational stuff that we do, 90% of the times. I repeat, 90% of the time. So for them, there is a different way of storytelling and writing, which I'll share with you in the due course of time. Third is instructional. Now, instructional does not mean here the instructional email by communicating them instructional messaging. No, it's simply like, say, suppose we are talking about a certain patch to be installed into different hardwares that the company has provided to each individual. And they want this to be run globally or maybe within the organization. So they will send an instructional email where they will might send you a small video to help you understand how are you going to install this patch or install this file or install this in your computer. The purpose is to help you do the same thing virtually instead of asking everyone to come physically. So that is an instructional email where you might end up discussing about this. The next is the promotional, where within the organization you will find a lot of times people coming and discussing about certain freebies, certain collaborative effort that the employer and employee are going to do. For example, there is an FHPL, which is Family Health Protection Plan. Generally, the corporate gives that to every individual, every employee in their organization. So how typically, how uh, you know, differently or distinctively are you going to write such emails so that you are not sounding sales? I mean, a lot of there shouldn't be any saley thing, but it should also be a kind of an email which shows the generosity of the brand towards the employee. So it is a kind of a space where you can do a lot of employer branding, right? So we'll discuss about that aspect also. So from today, we are going to do maximum about the formal introduction. Now, in that formal sense, I'm going to now talk about the different parts of the emails. So the first thing that comes in the email is the subject line. Now, subject line is very, very important. Why? Because subject is the first thing that you read in the email. The first thing. Remember, guys, not at all ever you might look into the email if your subject is disgraceful, or at the same time it is repetitive, or at the same time it's not clear as to what the email might talk about, right? So just to give you an idea, the way Google filters the spams and repetitive emails is only through subject line. So now understand the importance of the subject line. Subject line means this is going to be the face of your email. People might see your face and then come. They might just not look onto your body structure, your body language skills. They put it in the later stage. But first thing is they show the confidence of the face. So if you're writing your subject line, make sure this is going to be a representation of your email. And it has to be, if not perfect, has to say what the email talks about, which is clear messaging and crisp. So the word WIFM is what's in it for me, right? So we call it in our language nuts and bolts rule. The reason why we call it nuts and bolts rule is because the NBR is something which we fix in the few types of emails, and this nuts and bolts rule is something that is going to go a long time. So if you're really fixing up your emails, you have to go and follow these protocol to the T, to the end. And there is absolutely zero tolerance on this, because this is going to frame your good emails that you're going to do. And if you do it with NGear in that manner, I'm dead sure if you make it your habit, sooner it goes from a stage of conscious to unconscious competence. That means when you keep practicing it, sometimes you will write it and you might not realize that you have written it. That's the power of NBR, right? Okay, so now in the subject line, we have divided into three categories, or three, I would say, different uh, structure, right? So the first is the structure itself, how it should look like. Second is the message that it's going to give. And the third is efficacy. That means, can we make it more effective? Can we really sound it a little different so that people understand it in one go? So that's how we are going to do it. So the structure should be the what, right? The what of things. What is the email about? That means it should be very clearly asking about the requirement or the ask. there has to be zero, I repeat, zero error in terms of asking what you require. You could be a little more skeptical about the choice of words. That's okay. It shouldn't sound authoritative, but the ask should be clear. It shouldn't be beating around the bush. For example, I'll show you. So this is the scenario that we are going to discuss today, right? So say suppose there is a update that you want to give on the additional feature on the website. Say suppose Domino's is your client and you are trying to give some sort of an update on the additional feature, which is the delivery tracking, right? And delivery tracking is something which you are launching on the website, right? So your what is this? Why are you writing the email? You are writing because you need something. Very clearly write it down. Do not beat around the bush. Just say simply what you need. Support. I need support, guys. Support needed. Okay. So this is the first thing that you have to keep into your mind when it comes to discussion. You just cannot simply, beat around the bush with this fact. It is quintessential to do that. Now, now we move to the next part, which is the why, the clarity around us. Now, at times, generally, I'll rather use this one. This is a little more elaborated. Yeah. Generally, the why is always about how differently, how I would say simply, with simple words, can you bring more clarity, right? Rather than writing bigger sentences. So clarity is always crisp and short. If you are unable to express and clearly explain what you need and the clarity is not there, that means most probably you might not be, you have also not understood what the clarity is about. So make sure the clarity is just 2 to 3 simple phrase or words and not beyond that, because subject line you can't have more than 39 to 40, maximum 40 characters, right? 39 to 40 characters. I'm talking about the large ones. The smaller ones will be maximum 10 to 15 at the max. So clarity should be around the messaging that you are going to do, and we are going to see what I'm intending to say. So again, we'll go to that first all operational email, and this is the clarity I'm talking about. This is the why. Why do you want the support? I need the support because I wish to launch a delivery tracking. And delivery tracking is a kind of a feature which I'm going to write. The reason I did not write feature and module and all, because it might not, it's a little technical. So a lot of people might not belong to the same industry. So they may not be able to connect. So that is the reason a delivery tracking is something which we are launching on the Domino's website. So I'm just going to share how the message should look. And this is the second aspect of it, which is why. Why means the message. Okay. Now coming to the third point, which is efficacy. Okay. Now efficacy is something which we generally say in our language within the current set of arrangements that you already have. How can you make it better, right? So I see a lot of people using full stop, but in a sentence you will use a full stop only when that expression has ended, only when you have communicated finally. If I say support needed and then full stop, it might not sound as a sentence. So technically it becomes wrong. A lot of people will say, "Arey, isme to inhone full stop laga diya." So generally we refrain using full stops, commas, colons, and other these things other grammatical symbols in the subject line. Generally we do that. It's not at all acceptable that you are writing professional emails and you're using bigger sentences in the subject line. So refrain using that. Rather, this is I would say a wonder tool. And I personally have used it for 10 years. And this is something which is there almost below backspace and above enter on your keyboard, right? And this is very special, very, very, very special. Okay. So I'll show it with you, you know, simply with the small camera of my mobile phone. If you guys see, can you guys see that my camera? Everyone,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I'm talking about this one. So it is going to be used with shift. You can use shift and you can use this. Okay. So now we call it a wonder tool. Why we call it a wonder tool? Because it simply can make a lot of messaging in one simple sentence. And see, I'm going to do that in front of you right now. So see, if I read this email and my ask is very, very clear here, support needed, launch of delivery tracking and Domino's. The reason I mentioned Domino's is because if I'm going to search the emails in the group of emails in our Outlook or webmail with Domino's title, at least I should get all my Domino's mail filtered. And that is where I use this aspect, which is a simple pipe. We call it a pipe. I call it a pipe. I don't know the actual phrase of it, but I use it as pipe. So you guys can, say it like that, or maybe you can Google it also. So this is what we call in our language a pipe. This solves the basic problem. Now, I generally keep the first letter of every word as capital because this sort of brings more importance to the word which is following the first word. So say suppose maximum people, if they write this, if you just see and feel support is being highlighted but somewhere needed is not. So to give equal importance to every word, I sort of take this into a consideration that every time I'm using I'm writing a subject line, I generally make sure that I do this, right? The first letter of the word should be in cap. Generally, it's not a rule, but it's something which is effective. So I just wanted to show you guys. Okay. So now we are moving towards the next aspect, which are salutations and openers. So before I go to the next one, I will again open this forum for questions, right? For just a maximum 1 to 2 minutes to move forward. And we will also have a small break for 1 to 2 minutes around 12. So we will quickly finish the next opener thing in 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll do a break for 1 to 2 minutes. So meanwhile, can I request people to have any questions or they have any doubts? Please confirm, please ask anyone. Yeah, I'm waiting, guys. Anyone has questions, doubts, feel free to ask. No questions? Okay. So
No.
yeah, Mahesh. Yeah. Have any questions, Mahesh?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, guys. So let's move to the next part, which is the openers. Okay. Now, this is also very critical, and this is also very important. As soon as you open the email, the second thing that you get is the opening line, right? So there is a small concept of dear, which generally, of course, comes from the Western world, because we used to write documents, we used to write different formats of reports, but email was sort of brought to us through the Western culture, of course. So dear word is a very respectful word which we can attach with even people, colleagues who are our subordinates, as well as who are our seniors. And at the same time, it can be used with people who are, you know, younger than you, and also for people who are elder than you. So from both cultural and professional outlook, dear is a word that goes with everyone, right? So generally, I'm telling you, you can use the word dear comfortably, even with your bosses. So for example, Mr. Raghunathan sir, Instead of writing respected Raghunathan sir, which sounds like an application in the school, better is to write dear Raghunathan ji or dear Raghunathan sir, whichever way you are comfortable. But only writing Raghunathan ji or Raghunathan sir is not complete, and there is no such greeting, or you are not, attending to the other person. It sounds, or it does. I mean, it's technically it's incorrect to write only with the name. So generally, you can write the word dear. Okay. Now, there are several words. There are several other different things that we do use. For example, just after the email, for example, dear Raghunathan ji, and next, greetings from Engare, or good to meet you, nice to connect, nice to do this. All these things that we are doing sort of bring some energy and some momentum in the overall structure of things. And it's just like you are going to somebody's house, right? The moment you ring the bell, the person comes out. Do you start saying your problem to the person? No. What do you do? Sir, namaskaram, namaste, vadakkam, or how are you? Like this. So you just don't move into the other aspects immediately. Or rather, you wait and then move into the other things after greeting. So the greeting has to be must before you enter. You say, no, what if I should not, if I don't use it? It's okay. You should not be. It's only if you don't use it. But then again, as I said, the perception that people will carry will be that you do not give importance to professional courtesy. Right? Do I need to write it on every email? No. If you're following a mail trail, you're not supposed to greet the person again and again, right? You just simply write the body composition and go. But this only needs to be written if you are writing the first email, not the follow-up emails. So two things to remember. It's not a must to do, but it's something this is good to do. As I said, professional courtesy. Second, are you going to write it on the every email? No, you're not going to write on every email, but on certain aspects, when you think that you're introducing a new person or you are interacting after a long time, or maybe you are trying to write the first email in the mail trail, or you're the first person who is going to start the email, then you may write. A follow-up or a mail trail email necessarily do not need to be having this. Okay. Now, there is a new culture which has come up, like e-meeting someone after COVID. So that's the reason I've introduced e-meet, right? Because sometimes we don't meet people. In fact, you talk about Engare, a lot of employees I have not met as a lead trainer. We have hired them remotely. Right? So the purpose is that e-meeting is something which is trendy and topical, which we can generally write, and it sort of also is contemporary. So I have just mentioned it here. Okay. Now, why? So I'll give you the reason why. It's a matter of professional courtesy. If you do not sort of bring that professional courtesy, you might not sound as if you are professionally thoughtful and experienced. Because greeting is something which we generally try to do it before we enter the person's house, or before you want the person to read your email. Okay. Now, there is a use of exclamation mark here, and this is very important, guys. It's sort of electrifying your performance in the email, or putting more energy to the email. So just to give you an example, we always use the first name tag. Okay, the first name. Don't use the surname or the family name with dear. That's incorrect. So you can't write dear Anubhav. You must be writing dear Mr. Srivastav, or dear, you must not be writing dear Anubhav. Dear Srivastav. You should be writing dear Anubhav. Why? Because dear is a little towards the casual things, right? Generally, we, call them dear. But the reason why we are using it, because there is no such appropriate word than dear which could be utilized with everyone. So we are compromising on the little professional point here. So generally, with that notion, we should bring only the first name and not the surname, because surname is a little more specific, and generally, even in Western world and in Indian country, is a name of your forefathers, is a name of your father, right? So with dear, it is a little not good to have. So generally, we use the first name tag. So dear and the first name tag. Okay? And now I'll show you how this simple exclamation mark word does wonder here. Okay. So, for example, I write Dear Devesh without an exclamation mark. Now, that means while I'm reading the email, this is how am I going to read it, Dear Devesh. The moment I put an exclamation mark, I will read Dear Devesh, Ya Devesh. So that actually is a way of transferring energy over the email to the other person. And if you use this simple exclamation mark, it will help the other person to understand that you are coming with that level of energy to greet the person. Okay? So always make sure that you greet the person with that good energy, right? Because that's going to be a launch pad for your other activities. When you go to a person's house, you greet them warmly and with energy. Quite possibly they will give you or ask you for a tea. If you don't greet them, they will probably give you water and let you go, right? So would you not like to have tea in somebody's house? So better, greet them like that. Okay. With that notion, I will give a quick break for 1 to 2 minutes, everyone. If you want to loosen it up, go to washroom, take a glass of water, have a cup of tea or whatever that you want to do. You can do for 1 minute. I'll be here only. I'll not go anywhere because I'm used to with these sessions. So if you guys want to take a quick break for like 1 to 2 minutes, you can. And don't leave because now the body structure and other things are going to come. So over to you guys. If you guys have any questions also, you can ask me right now. I'll be more than willing to take up the questions during these sessions. Anyone questions?
Anubhav, we have some questions from chat box, which is Dipesh.
Okay, yes, sir. Regarding the headline, it is very confusing. To whom am I sending the email? Senior or junior? If senior, we usually, and junior, we put his name. As regarding the headline, it is very confusing. To whom am I sending the email? Senior or junior? If senior, we usually, and junior, we put his name. In subject line, we never use email. Dipesh, just to answer your question. In subject,
Yeah,
yeah. Hello, Dipesh. How are you?
yeah, fine, sir. Actually, generally, what the industry called that. Actually, I'm banker, and when I am
Okay.
sending the mail to my seniors, so
Mhm.
generally I put it dear sir or but I can't put it as name. But in
Yeah.
generally, if I'm sending if I'm sending the mail to my junior, so respectfully I can put it as name Ranjan or whatever. So it is a very
See,
important what you have taught here. It is very
thank
easy.
you. Thank you. See, with us, with Engear, you will get things which you can learn and use it the next moment. तो आप यहाँ से जब जाएंगे, when you go
Yeah.
from here, you are going to use this, isn't it? Very
Okay.
simple, very easy to remember, right? So अगर in case दिपेश आप अपने जूनियर को भी बोलते हैं डियर, तो वो एक रिस्पेक्टफुल होगा उसके लिए आपकी तरफ,
Yeah.
है ना? उसको
जी.
लगेगा कि देखो दिपेश सर ने मुझे डियर लिखा, और डियर
जी.
बुरा भी नहीं लग रहा है कि आप किसी को कुछ ज्यादा मतलब एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो या उसके बारे में ज्यादा
बट इन
एक्सप्लेन।
जनरली ये होता नहीं है. मैं अगर मतलब मैं अगर जूनियर को मैं अगर सीनियर को भेज रहा हूँ तो इजीली दे विल नॉट सेंडिंग टू माय नेम डियर दीपेश और दे आर सेंडिंग ओनली व्हाट दे आर कंसर्न अबाउट दिस मेल. वो उतना ही भेजेंगे जितना कि या अगर मैं कुछ अप्रूवल मांग रहा हूँ तो अप्रूव. हाँ, बट एज यूजुअली ये प्लेटफॉर्म में जो आपने बताया कि उनको भी लिखना चाहिए डियर दीपेश, ओके इट इज अप्रूव्ड या अप्रूव्ड या कुछ भी.
जी, एकदम सही दीपेश, आपने एकदम सही बात बोली. थैंक यू फॉर द डिलिबरेशन. सो मैं आपको इसको समझाता हूँ कि देखिए ये कब पता चलता है. एक जनरल सा नोशन में बताता हूँ. आप ऐसे ईमेल लिखते रहिए, कोई ध्यान नहीं देगा. बट जब कभी आदमी आपके ईमेल एक बार स्क्रॉल करेगा किसी रीजन से कि आज अनुभव की कुछ ईमेल मिल नहीं रही है या ये ईमेल अनुभव ने भेजी थी, तो एक बार उसके नाम से सर्च करके देखिए. तो ये चीजें कहीं ना कहीं नोटिस होंगी कि देखो आप कितने प्रोफेशनल कर्टेसी से करते आए हो काम. और ये आपके सब कॉन्शियस माइंड में स्टोर होती रहेंगी समय के साथ. तो आपको ये ध्यान देना है कि आज नहीं कल इसका आपको एक्सपोनेंशियल फायदा मिलेगा।
करेक्ट सर,
मुझे तो कुछ महीनों में मिला और 10 सालों में मिला, मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बता रहा हूँ आपको
करेक्ट करेक्ट सर,
कि आज नहीं कल इसका फायदा आपको मिलना तय है। तो हम इतनी बड़ी बड़ी चीजें करते हैं अपने फायदे के लिए। कोई आदमी 1 चम्मच से ज्यादा शुगर अपनी चाय में नहीं पीता है, कोई मिठाई नहीं खा रहा है, कोई रोज सुबह उठ करके दौड़ रहा है। जब इतनी आप मेहनत कर रहे हो अपने आप को अच्छा बनाने के लिए, तो कुछ अच्छी आदतें भी सीख लो, जिससे कि
करेक्ट
एटलीस्ट लंबे समय में आपको फायदा हो। बस यही मतलब है।
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट।
एनीबडी एल्स? हाँ गाइस, ये अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी है। आप लोग चाहें, अगर नहीं एक्सप्रेस करना चाह रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो आप चैट में अपने क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन लिखते हैं, हम उसमें बता देंगे आप।
Sir, what about respected, sir? If we write down respected, sir.
हेलो बिंदु।
Hello, sir.
सो देखिए, रिस्पेक्टेड अच्छा लगता है, बुरा नहीं है। लेकिन ये ना थोड़ा सा हमारे इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम से लिया गया हुआ एक हैंगओवर शब्द है। ठीक है, मतलब इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम का हैंगओवर। तो बचपन से हम जब 4th क्लास में थे, तब से एप्लीकेशन निकाली जा रही है, रिस्पेक्टेड प्रिंसिपल मैम, आई कुड नॉट अटेंड द स्कूल टुडे बिकॉज आई हैव फीवर। ठीक है, अगर हाथ में भी दर्द है, पाँव में भी दर्द है, तो भी फीवर है। ठीक है, नहीं है तो भी लिख दो। तो ये हमारे एक तरीका है। तो ये तरीका आया कहाँ से, हमें समझना होगा आया कहाँ से। देखिए, जो करिकुलम बनाने वाली जो मेजर इंस्टीट्यूशन है भारत के अंदर, वो है एनसीईआरटी, है ना, जो कि करिकुलम तैयार करती है। तो ये जो अपना करिकुलम तैयार करती है, इसको बनाने वाले कौन है? आईएएस अफसर हैं, हुक्मरान हैं, बड़े बड़े जगहों के ऑफिसर्स हैं। ये सारे भी उसी इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम के ही प्रोडक्ट हैं। तो इन्होंने जब वो चीज लिखी, बनाई, तो उसमें ये सारे वर्ड्स यूज कर। तो आज भी आप कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी लेवल के या आईएएस लेवल के लोगों तक जाएंगे, तो यहाँ पे वो वर्डिंग दिखेंगे, रिस्पेक्टेड डियर मिस्टर श्रीवास्तव। वो ये भी लिखेंगे, डियर भी लिखेंगे, रिस्पेक्टेड भी लिखेंगे। क्योंकि अगर वो रिस्पेक्टेड नहीं लिखेंगे तो वो बुरा मान जाएगा, जो उसका ऊपर वाला है। उसको लगेगा अच्छा, इसने मुझे रिस्पेक्टेड नहीं लिखा। तो ये जो ईगो है, ये कॉर्पोरेट में नहीं होती है, नेचुरली नहीं होती है। इस वजह से नहीं कि हम करते नहीं। अगर कोई इस तरह का आदमी जाएगा तो वो अपने साथ ये कल्चर लेके जाएगा, तो वहां आपको लिखना पड़ सकता है। लेकिन 99% जो मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है कि बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ये फॉलो नहीं होता है, क्योंकि क्लियर कट जो आपकी हायरार्की होती है, जो ऊपर की लीडरशिप होती है, उनको क्लैरिटी होती है कि ये हमें नई कल्चर में अपने डालना है। तो वो पिरामिडिकल स्ट्रक्चर से फॉलो होता है, जो ऊपर फॉलो करेगा वो नीचे वाले भी फॉलो करेंगे। तो वहां
Sir,
पे
if we,
जी,
sir,
तो
if
वहां
we
पे उसकी
don't know
जरूरत नहीं
about
है।
the name of the person, let's say it's I have to send a mail to a bank or any organization because then I don't know the name of the person.
Then simply write dear with the team. We can denote a word ना। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप 2-3 लोग को मेल लिख रहे हैं, तो आप सीधे टीम लिख दीजिए, डियर टीम। ठीक है, या अगर आप किसी इंडिविजुअल को लिख रहे हैं, उसका नाम नहीं पता है, तो क्वाइट पॉसिबली वो एक मेल बॉक्स होगा, है ना। तो अगर नाम होगा तो उसका, तो मतलब नाम अगर उसका होगा, नहीं पता होगा, तो आप उसके ईमेल से ले लीजिए, जैसे sanchit.gupta@hdfc.com।
Okay,
तो आप डियर
okay,
संचित
okay.
लिख सकते हो। ठीक है, नहीं तो अगर कोई मेल बॉक्स है तो आप वहां पे लिख सकते हो डियर टीम या डियर एचडीएफसी टीम। या नहीं भी पता है, मान लो दोनों चीजें नहीं पता है, तो डियर एचडीएफसी टीम मेंबर कर दो।
Okay. Or in case of customer care, sir?
डियर कस्टमर केयर मेंबर, ऐसे लिख दीजिए।
Okay, okay.
अब देखिए,
Fine, thank
कस्टमर केयर को जनरली लोग गाली निकालते हैं, लेकिन जब आप जाएंगे, नेचुरली अगर आप डियर करके लिखोगे, तो पढ़ने वाला भी एक बार सोचेगा कि देखो, इसने मुझे रिस्पेक्टफुली बात की है और कर्टसी है इस आदमी के अंदर, तो मैं थोड़ा सा आपके प्रति वो रहेगा। आपको मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल और देता हूँ, है ना, बिफोर आई रिज्यूम द सेशन। देयर इज अ वेरी गुड बैंक कॉल्ड अमेरिकन एक्सप्रेस, और अपने कस्टमर सर्विस के लिए वो जाने जाते हैं कॉर्पोरेट्स में। ठीक है, फॉर्चुनेटली मेरे पास भी कुछ समय उनके साथ समय मिला, उनके साथ बैंक करने का। तो एक बार मैंने उनको किसी ट्रांजैक्शन को वैलिडेट करने के लिए कॉल किया था। तो उसमें से एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ने मुझे ये चीज बोली कि सर, आपकी कॉल मैंने बाकियों से पहले ली, और हमारे पास भी एक रेटिंग सिस्टम होता है कस्टमर्स के लिए, आपकी रेटिंग उसमें काफी हाई है। तो मैंने पूछा क्यों हाई है, तो उन्होंने बताया कि जितनी भी आपने हमें मेल्स लिखी हैं उसमें हर चीज आपने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से डिफाइन की है और प्रोफेशनल कर्टसी उसमें दिखती है, और उसी बेसिस पे हमने आपको रैंक किया है, या हम आपको थोड़ा सा प्रायोरिटी पे रखते हैं जनरली। तो देखिए, वो भी कस्टमर सर्विस है, उनको क्या किसी को फर्क पड़ रहा है अगर आप उसको नॉर्मल मेल भी लिख देते हैं। बट अगर आप ये अपने आदत में ले आएंगे, हैबिचुएट कर लेंगे इस आदत को, तो आप ये चीज पाएंगे कि हर जगह आपको उसका थोड़ा थोड़ा फायदा मिलेगा, जिसको हम हैबिट फॉर्मेशन बोलते हैं। तो कीप दिस इज अ हैबिट, ऑलवेज ग्रीट पीपल, ऑलवेज स्पीक टू देम पोलाइटली, you will feel that it also comes into your general character and nature and also in the email. चलिए, so I think break हमारा over हो चुका है.
No, Anmol sir, I have also a question.
Yeah.
Actually, जब हम लोग मेल लिख रहे हैं, for example, एक कंपनी में we are addressing to a person who is a much senior person. Okay. Along with that, I also wanted कि उसकी टीम के पास भी जाए, जो उससे एक हायरार्की में नीचे, ठीक है? So we want a collective awareness email to be sent to that company.
Right.
तो हमें जब हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं डियर ये, तो वहां पे अगर हम लोग ने 3-4 लोगों को एड्रेस किया हमें, ठीक है, ओके, इन विच वी कैन से अ पर्सन जो है एक टॉप हायरार्की में, उसके बाद फिर उससे नीचे हायरार्की में,
बहुत
तो
बढ़िया
फिर
सवाल।
मतलब तो डियर के साथ कितने लोगों का नाम हम लोग लिखेंगे? टीम तो लिख नहीं सकते हैं।
बहुत बढ़िया।
अगर
हाँ,
हमने
तो मैं
डायरेक्टर को लिखा है, जैसे एग्जाम्पल मैंने डायरेक्टर को मेल लिखी,
तो डायरेक्टर का नाम बताइए,
सपोज
कोई भी नाम, जैसे
राजन,
विवेक। विवेक
या अभिदित, ही इज डायरेक्टर फाइनेंस, ठीक। अब मैं चाहता हूँ उसके फाइनेंस की जो टीम है नीचे, मतलब जो उसके नीचे काम करती है, ओके, तो उसके पास भी ये मेल जाए, तो मैं ऐसा तो लिख नहीं सकता हूँ कि डियर डियर टीम, बिकॉज आप डायरेक्टर को भी एड्रेस कर रहे हैं, उसके साथ उसकी टीम को भी एड्रेस कर रहे हैं टू में, तो फिर कैसे होगा? तो ये आई थिंक इट्स द बेस्ट वे।
तो सबसे पहले तो बहुत बढ़िया क्वेश्चन। मैं आई थिंक आप अच्छे क्वेश्चंस लेकर आ रहे हैं, पिछले बार भी आपने बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन लाया था। देखिए, उसका आंसर मैंने आपके सामने लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे, अगर आप मेरी स्क्रीन देख पा रहे होंगे तो ये बहुत अच्छा सवाल है। और एक छोटी सी बात आपको यहाँ पे बताता हूँ, अभी तो मैं समझाने वाला था कि एक कल्चर होता है, उसको सीसी एंड बीसीसी कल्चर बोलते हैं। तो जो भी आप किसी को भी टू में डालते हैं या सीसी में डालते हैं या बीसीसी में डालते हैं, जस्ट बिकॉज कि बीसीसी लोग देख नहीं पाते हैं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप वहां पे हायरार्की बदल देंगे। तो जैसे विवेक जी अगर किसी चीज के डायरेक्टर हैं या सीनियर मोस्ट लीडरशिप हैं, तो आपको उनको टू में सबसे पहले रखना है, फिर उस हायरार्की में जो उससे नीचे होगा उसके बाद में रखना है, फिर उसके बाद उसको बाद में रखना है। आप कभी भी ऐसा काम नहीं करेंगे कि किसी को विवेक जी के पहले ले आएंगे। इट्स अ प्रोफेशनल कर्टेसी और एक तरीका है, ठीक है। दूसरी चीज, आप यदि उन लोगों को लिखना चाहते हैं, इफ यू वांट टू एक्सप्रेस दिस दैट यस आई एम एड्रेसिंग टू पीपल एट द सेम टाइम एंड इन टू सेक्शन in your email you have Vivek and the mailbox for alliances team, then you can simply use this symbol. Okay, that means you are a part of the same team, sir, but just because you are a little senior, so I've given you that due importance in my writing here. So Vivek sir or Vivek ji, right? If you are come from an India culture, use ji. If you don't want to use sir. Both the things are correct. So Vivek ji sir or and alliances team, you can use this. Okay? If that is a third party, right, then you might use a simple comma here, right? Third party is, it's a vendor, right? And you have to address both of them. Generally it's a very rarest of the rare situation जहाँ पे आप vendor और अपने leadership को एक साथ address कर रहे होते हो. In case if it so happens, then you can use a full stop. But if he is a part of the team, you can use this symbol. Thank you. I hope question is answered.
Yeah, actually.
Wonderful. Great. Okay, guys, can we move forward, everyone? चलिए आगे चलते हैं.
Hello.
Yes. या भाऊ साहेब कामले जी बताइए.
या सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
गुड आफ्टरनून.
हाँ सर, यहाँ पे एक मेरा छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है कि मिस्टर कब लिखा जाता है? मिस्टर
देखिए, मिस्टर हम लिखते हैं जब हम किसी प्रोफेशनल डिस्कोर्स में ईमेल के अलावा कोई डॉक्यूमेंट तैयार कर रहे हैं। ईमेल ईमेल का मतलब होता है कि हम उससे उसे जानते हैं, उसे बात करते हैं और हमारे टीम या कम्युनिटी का आदमी है। जब हम किसी को पहली बार एड्रेस कर रहे होते हैं तब हम मिस्टर लगाते हैं, और ये बोल चालने वाली भाषा है जिसको हम फंक्शनल कम्युनिकेशन कहते हैं। लिखने की भाषा थोड़ा कम है। तो आप जनरली अगर मेल लिख रहे हैं तो मिस्टर मत लिखिए। अगर आप कोई डॉक्यूमेंट बना रहे हैं या रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तो शायद मिस्टर का उपयोग आप कर सकते हैं, बट फंक्शनल कम्युनिकेशन में और ईमेल राइटिंग में इसका उपयोग कम होता है।
अच्छा, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Hi, Anubhav. This is Paramveer.
हाय परमवीर।
Yeah, good afternoon. So, Anubhav, I have one question. During the course of the day, we write multiple emails to the same team, right? And in that course of time, sometime it is formal, sometime it is informal. And then at the end of the day, we tend to be in between, right? Both formal and informal. So, how do we
Yeah.
address that kind of situation, Anubhav?
Yes, so very good question again. Thank you so much, Paramveer. देखिए, in the case where you're writing the same email again, every time dear, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
ठीक है? तो सिंपली मैं करता हूँ वो मैं आपको बताता हूँ। अगर 5-6 बार एक ही ईमेल लिखी जा रही है तो मैं ये पूरा डिलीट कर देता हूँ और मैं सीधे लिखता हूँ टी कॉमा। सिंपल। ठीक। पहली बार मैंने एड्रेस कर दिया, उनके दिमाग में भी चीज आ गई, बट बाद में मैं सीधे टीम लिख करके एड्रेस करता हूँ। ठीक।
Okay.
या कोई स्पेसिफिक टीम है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल डेप्यूटेशन टीम है तो आप ये लिख सकते हैं, या प्रोक्योरमेंट टीम है तो आप यहाँ पे वो शब्द डाल सकते हो प्रोक्योरमेंट। ठीक। बार बार डियर लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है आप। ठीक है, विच इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन, क्योंकि ये रिपीटेटिव वर्ड से फिर कुछ और झलकेगा। दैट्स अ डिफरेंट वे बिकॉज यू आर
Yeah,
यूजिंग द
because every time you are showing that formality and that is not required at times.
एग्जैक्टली
Second
पॉइंट टेकन।
is how do we address our own team? Like one is we say dear team, right? So that's a subordinate that reports to you. But at
हाँ,
times it doesn't look nice and people take it in another way. Like he's showing some kind of bossy and that sort of thing. So how do we handle that kind of situations?
so see, with your colleagues and with your team members, right? I personally do it. I don't know about you, but I give them a name.
Okay.
Okay. So, for example, I call my team Engarians. Okay. Now, इसमें क्या है, बड़े वाले भी आ जाएंगे, छोटे वाले भी आ जाएंगे, क्योंकि ये टीम का नाम है ना। तो थोड़ा सा इससे इट्स अ टीम बॉन्डिंग एक्टिविटी, टीम बिल्डिंग एक्टिविटी। जब आप ये काम करते हो तो लोग भी अच्छा फील करते हैं और उनको एक नाम मिल जाता है अपने आप को एड्रेस करने का। तो जब वो नाम आ जाता है तो नाम सुप्रीम हो जाता है और बाकी चीजें हट जाती है ना। जैसे
Yeah,
आप
good.
टीम इंडिया बोलते हो, राइट? अब सचिन बहुत बड़े खिलाड़ी हैं टीम इंडिया के अंदर, बट वो टीम से बड़े नहीं, राइट? तो वो टीम इंडिया एक एक वर्ड बन गया जिसके सब धारक हो गए, सब बेरर हो गए। तो आप सिंपली वो वर्ड यूज कर दो। ये मैं यूज करता हूँ। तो वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन दैट यू हैव आस्क्ड परमवीर, वेरी नाइस। तो ये काम आप करिए, सिंपली एंगेरियंस वर्ड जैसे मैं लिखता हूँ, आप अपना कुछ और लिख सकते हैं। जैसे अपने टीम का कोई नाम दिया तो वो नाम आप दे सकते हैं। ठीक है। अगर आपको लगता है नहीं आप बहुत नए हैं, टीम में नहीं है, तो आप इसको ये भी लिख सकते हैं, डियर टीम मेंबर्स। मेंबर्स करके डिनोट कर, जब तक उस लेवल ऑफ रपो बिल्डिंग या उतने तरीके से आप लोग अभी नहीं मिल पाए हैं तो।
Okay. And can we use, like you have written ingredients? Okay, sorry if I'm not able to pronounce it properly, but you may have some senior, some old peoples, right? In the same
दैट इज
team.
ओके, दैट इज
Okay.
ओके। सो एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे दिवाली की मेल डालनी है सबको, ठीक है? बहुत बड़ा ग्रुप है, सबको डालना है भैया दिवाली का ये फंक्शन है, अभी मैं दिखाऊंगा आगे, ये मेल भी है। सो योर बॉसेस विल आल्सो कम इनटू दैट। इट्स ओके, यू राइट दिस, नो प्रॉब्लम।
Yeah, thank you.
योर बॉसेस कैन आल्सो।
And also one more follow-up question to my previous one.
हाँ जी।
I have asked that कि अगर मैं मेल लिख रहा हूँ डायरेक्टर फाइनेंस को एंड उनकी टीम को, ठीक है,
जी।
ये एक सिनेरियो हो गया। तो वी हैव आई एम वेरी मच फ्रीक्वेंट विद ऑल दिस टीम्स। तो अगर मैं लिख रहा हूँ कंपनी के सारे डायरेक्टर्स को, जो भी है मेरे क्लाइंट,
हाँ
ठीक है, जैसे 4 डायरेक्टर हैं, मैं चारों को
जी,
एक फॉर्मल मेल भेज रहा हूँ, तो आई
हाँ,
कांट यूज डियर टीम करके, तो मैं यूज कर ही नहीं सकता हूँ इन एनी
नहीं
केस।
नहीं, आप ऐसे लिख दीजिए ना,
डियर लीडरशिप,
और बहुत बड़े हैं, बहुत बड़े हैं, डियर हटा करके ऑनरेबल लीडरशिप।
फाइन। नहीं,
ठीक,
sometimes I must tell you the scenario कि
जी,
in Japanese client we have to use san,
ओके,
and they are very much specific with their name. We have to
या
pronounce their names
जापानीज
because
आर, या
वो उनका culture है, san we have to use, and they are very much, they require that we have to address their name, because once I got a input from the team that you have to use their name, and 3 or 4 directors I have in that particular company, in which they all belong to a Japanese Japan. Okay, so ऐसे में उस सिनेरियो में तो मैं ये लिख ही नहीं सकता हूँ ऑनरेबल लीडरशिप, आई हैव टू यूज देयर नेम, देन व्हाट शुड बी द
या
पैटर्न
सो
ऑफ डियर देवेश
जनरली,
और डियर।
या सो इन दैट केस अगर 4 नेम आपको साथ में लिखने हैं, ठीक है, सो मैं फिर बताऊंगा, हमारे पास एक बहुत अच्छा टूल है पाइप, ठीक, उसका इस्तेमाल करिए। ठीक, ये 3 नाम है, ठीक है, आप यहाँ पे सिंपली एक पाइप टूल लगा करके इसको लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है, कॉमा लगाएंगे तो ये एक थोड़ा सा रियलिस्टिक साउंड देगा, पाइप यूज कर सकते हैं। अगर आपको लगता है नहीं, दिक्कत हो सकती है, तो आप ये यूज कर सकते हैं। सिंपल।
व्हाट इफ यू यूज डियर देवेश इन द सेकंड लाइन, डियर विवेक, एंड इन द थर्ड लाइन डियर राजन?
देखिए, फिर उस केस में डियर शब्द का जरूरत ही नहीं है, क्योंकि डियर जनरली उनके नाम के पहले लगाया जाता है। या तो आप सीधे लिख दीजिए हेलो सर, ठीक है, सीधे लिख दीजिए हेलो सर, ठीक, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, ये भी चलेगा। और उसके आगे आप अपना कंटिन्यूएशन कर लीजिए। बट अगर आप डियर लिख रहे हैं तो फिर उसके आगे ही लिखना पड़ेगा, ठीक। जनरली अगर मेरे पास ये तीनों लोग होंगे और बहुत बड़े हैं तो मैं यहाँ ये लगा दूँ, डियर देवेश, विवेक एंड राजन सर, फिर आप अपनी बात शुरू करिए,
फाइन,
ठीक है,
थैंक्स।
ग्रेट। सो गाइस लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड, ठीक है, चलिए अब आते हैं हम बॉडी के ऊपर, और बॉडी कॉम्पोजिशन में पढ़ने की कोशिश करेंगे कि क्या क्या चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है। देखिए, बॉडी की अगेन स्ट्रक्चर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। स्ट्रक्चर मतलब वो दिखता कैसा है, तो दिखते में आपके व्हाट व्हाट हाईलाइट होने चाहिए। जनरली एक आम नोशन बना हुआ है लोगों का कि आप किसी को एक्सप्लेनेशन दे दो, बट हम थोड़ा सा उससे आगे जाते हैं और हम हमेशा ये बोलते हैं एक्सप्लेनेशन के साथ सोल्यूशन भी दो। जरूरी है देना। क्यों जरूरी है? क्योंकि फिर वो एक ओपन एंड रहेगा उस आदमी के लिए रिस्पॉन्स देने का, और क्वाइट पॉसिबली आप कोशिश करते रहोगे उससे क्लोजर का, और लंबी मेल ट्रेल चलेगी। तो क्यों कॉम्प्लिकेट करना जीवन को? अगर पॉसिबिलिटी है, अगर कोई स्ट्रेटेजिक आपका एक्शन है जहां पे सोल्यूशन आपको नहीं देना है, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट केस। बट नॉर्मल जेनरिक सिनेरियो में बता रहा हूँ, स्पेसिफिक नहीं, क्योंकि स्पेसिफिक बहुत लेयर्ड चीज होगी, लीनियर नहीं होगी, तो वो मैं यहाँ पे डिस्कस नहीं कर पाऊंगा। बट अगर नॉर्मल सिनेरियो है और आपका कोई क्वेश्चन है, तो कोशिश करिए कि सोल्यूशन उसमें दे दीजिए। और एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है अफर्मेशन का, वो मैं आपको अभी समझाता हूँ, उसको बहुत ध्यान से समझिएगा सब लोग, क्योंकि ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और ये आप तुरंत देखेंगे इसका फायदा आपको मिलना शुरू हो जाएगा। इनफैक्ट हमारे पास इस समय बहुत से ऐसे ब्रांड मैनेजर्स हैं और सीनियर प्रोफाइल के लोग हैं जो हमसे ईमेल लिखते हैं, और हम उनकी ईमेल में मदद करते हैं। उनके बड़े बड़े ईमेल्स और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ड्राफ्टिंग हम करवाते हैं, और उनको तुरंत उसका फायदा दिखता है कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी छोटा सा एक कंपनी है क्वेस्ट ग्लोबल लॉजिक, और आई कैन नॉट नेम द पर्सन बट शी इज माई लर्नर। तो उनकी एक प्रॉब्लम ये थी कि उनका जो काम था वो अनएड्रेस्ड जा रहा था, लोग करते नहीं थे, एंड शी इज इनटू मैनेजिंग बिग कैंपेन्स एंड ऑल। तो उनके हमने ईमेल उनके इतनी मेहनत की, आज विद इन अ पीरियड ऑफ लाइक 15-20 days there is a new CMO who has joined, and she called her for a small discussion with her. So see, people notice, definitely they notice. We do not have a tangible cause and a solution kind of thing कि भाई अभी हमने करा दिया तो तुरंत उसका रिजल्ट मिल जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं होगा, लेकिन थोड़ा समय देंगे आप तो वो दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. And it happened. Almost positive feedback सबसे रहा है, everybody that we have done so far, कि कुछ ना कुछ फायदा उनको जरूर मिला है. सो इस चीज को बहुत ध्यान से समझिएगा, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, तो अब हम आते हैं पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशन को. मैं इसको एग्जांपल से समझाऊंगा, इसलिए यहां डिस्कस नहीं कर रहा हूं. मैसेजिंग पे हमें सॉल्यूशंस देने होंगे कि क्यों आप ये कराना चाहते हो, क्योंकि आपका सॉल्यूशन एक सॉर्ट ऑफ वाई फैक्टर उनको सॉल्व करके देगा. ठीक है, और आपकी जो भी डिमांड है, आस्क्स हैं, आप उनको यूज कर सकते हो. यहां पे जो आपकी एफिकेसी के टूल हैं वो है बुलेट्स और पॉइंटर्स और आपकी टोन. तो ध्यान रखिएगा, बुलेट्स एंड पॉइंटर्स का बहुत स्पेसिफिक यूज है. क्या यूज है मैं समझाता हूं. ठीक है, सबसे पहले आते हैं अफर्मेशन के ऊपर. अब देखिए, यहां हमने लिख दिया ये सीजन्स ग्रीटिंग्स डाल दे. ठीक है, त्योहारों का समय चल रहा है, दिवाली है, ये बहुत सारी चीजें, या कोई चेंज ऑफ सीजन आ रहा है, तो आप फेस्टिव ग्रीटिंग्स डाल सकते हैं, सीजन ग्रीटिंग्स डाल सकते हैं. पहली बार में, हर बार नहीं, पहली बार में, क्योंकि ग्रीटिंग आदमी पहली बार ही देता है. अब एक के घर में आप 10 बार जा रहे हैं तो आप उसे पहली बार नमस्ते बोलते हैं, बाद में आप बस देखते हैं तो हाथ हिला देते हैं, तो वो डियर के तौर पे आ गया. लेकिन बाकी चीजों में आपकी जरूरत, इट हैज टू बी दैट यू नो only for once. I mean, once that you are starting an email, you should use it. Thereafter, you should refrain from using it. Okay. Now, it's a season where a lot of people are becoming ill. So if you want, you can write this. I purposefully write this because somewhere I feel this, that majority of people appreciate when you ask them about their health and well-being. So generally a small notion you can always do that. Up, see the email. I'm going to read each word one by one. Just hear it out. Okay. As you know, this is a very good way to start your communication, that you have established the fact that you already are aware of the things. So as you know, we have been working hard to finish up the testing of this new feature. We are delighted to let you know that we have successfully tested the delivery tracking module, and soon we will be making it live. Now, the reason I'm putting live is because it's a word with energy, live, right? So my intonations and modulations are going to go the same way the other person is comprehending your email in his mind. So while he is comprehending, he is visualizing himself reading out these things to him. So there you have to be a little specific onto the different choices of symbols and words. Here are the proposed activities. Just give me a moment. Now, we would like your support upon. Okay. Now, proposed activities and support upon. Now, the first thing I do is, if I write all this in a big, paragraph, there are chances where people might not even read it as, and it will be really, really, really something which distract and digress people from actioning it also, because something that they don't understand, they might not action it also, right? But the reason why I have used this in a very simple manner or a form is in bullets pointers is because I really feel that if a paragraph digresses them, distracts them, a simple bullet pointers clearly describes the action items very distinctive. For example, need a downtime of 2 hours during the off-peak hours to attach the module to our website and some hybrid apps. Little technical thing, leave that apart, but need a downtime of 2 hours. So what is my ask? Downtime. My ask is very clear and I have put in it. Now, say suppose I'm running very short of time and I review this email like this. Even if I scroll this email, This bold letter I can't afford to miss. I simply cannot afford to miss. Even if I scroll like this, see, if I have scroll like this, I can't afford to miss that I need a downtime. Now, this is what I call efficacy. You are using the existing things to make yourself a little more effective. And that's what I call the bullet pointers. ठीक है? And bold. So, हो सकता है कि इस चीज में you might have your bosses also, that you want to keep them in CC. So if you are not addressing them in two, I repeat, remember guys, if you are not addressing them in two, this sort of writing is okay, because this is not meant for them. This is meant for their subordinates, and they just have to have a brief peek into it. मतलब एक छोटी सी नजर डालनी है उनको इस चीज की, उसको इनको करना नहीं है, तो आप उनको एड्रेस नहीं कर रहे हो, तो ये सही है, ये असर्टिव है और सही भी। लेकिन अगर आप इस चीज को कर रहे हो उनके साथ, तो ये सही राइटिंग नहीं है। तो उसके लिए मैं अलग से बताऊंगा, बट फिलहाल इफ यू आर एड्रेसिंग अ group or a team of members which are equivalent at your cadre or stature, you can write it. But if they are really senior to you, this is not the right way. Next, there will be a parallel subdomain where we will test the functionality of the module for 2 days with only 15% of the total consumers logging in. You are requested to guide your tech team to enable this for us. Matlab, there will be a parallel subdomain, so we are testing the site, so there will be a module will be attached. So we don't want to test it for all the users, so we take only 15% of the live users. But for rest of the users, we are going to show them the same website. And for 15% of the user, we are going to create a parallel subdomain where you transfer. So this is the requirement, this is the ask which the technical team will furnish. So you have to highlight the numbers of users also, so that they make a embargo or some condition for the other people not to be logging in, right? Or यहाँ पे, or maybe they transfer the customers accordingly. And here, the two asks which I have shared is in bold. So even if they don't read the entire thing, acha, they want to read, acha, they will be a parallel subdomain. Okay, 15% of the total consumers. Got it. They will get it, what they want. Okay. Next point is, this will be tested for at least 7 working days. Now again, we have a timeline which is defined. So any specific name, chronological event, or jargons which you think are important, highlight them. Good way, effective way, highlight. Okay. And then finally on 22nd of December. Okay. So there is a specific reason why I have not used 22nd of December, because 22nd of December maybe is far off as of now. So this will be tested for 7 working days is more important than 22nd of December. Say suppose if the person does not read the full email and grows scrolling, then he might get a different impression by reading 22nd of December. कि अच्छा ये तो 27 दिसंबर के बाद की बात कर रहे हैं क्या, अभी कुछ नहीं हो रहा, तो फिर वो that is a incorrect messaging that they will get. So make sure कि everything you don't have to highlight. Something which are contradictory, confusing, overlapping, interdisciplinary, you don't highlight them. You make sure that you only highlight the ones which has the clear message. Okay? And we will be routing all the consumers to the main site. Please make necessary arrangements to help us perform the same. Okay. So here, till this time, the person reads, wow, very good. 2 hours downtime, parallel subdomain, 50% have to transfer, testing purpose, 7 days timeline. Now, this is where we write a simple last message, which is a close action item. Close means important action items. So we use the word PS. That means don't miss it. Because even if they miss this also, that means they miss the downtime, they miss parallel subdomain also, the highlighted ones, they can't miss PS. Because it's a general understanding that if you write PS, it means please see. They have to be absolutely read it for sure. They can't miss it. If they miss it, the onus comes on to them. So say suppose they don't read this and they are coming to meet you tomorrow, you can highlight these points any which ways, or you are going to do that any which ways. So at least by writing a 5 p.m., you are making sure that this is something that they can't miss. Okay? So use the word PS. PS is very, very helpful. Okay? And finally, this is affirmation. So affirmation की एक कहानी मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ. इसको मैं स्टोरी टेलिंग के माध्यम से आपके दिमाग में डाल दूंगा हमेशा के लिए. It's very important. So for example, I had a manager who always used to say to me, Anubhav, I don't like people coming to me and saying, sir, you can call me by my name. I said, okay. I used to call him Vivek. So maybe I'm not highlighting his name, but maybe his name is, say, suppose his name is Vivek. I will say, yes, Vivek, yes, Vivek. One day it so happened that he was with his family. And I said, Vivek. Then his wife prompted him. अरे ये तुमसे तो नीचे है ये पोजीशन में, तुम्हें विवेक क्यों बोल रहा है? So he did not say a word to her. But I got the message. See, आप कभी कभी बहुत ज्यादा इनफॉर्मल होने के लिए आप कहते हो नहीं मुझे आप मेरे नाम से ही बुलाओ. एक कल्चर बन गया है कि लोग कहते हैं हाँ मुझे नाम से बुलाओ. See, in a longer run, in a longer duration, अगर आप किसी को भी किसी के नाम से बुलाते हो, या if you call the person by their name, if he's senior to you, you will slowly and gradually stop within the framework of your mind, stop respecting that person internally. And as soon as you stop respecting the person internally, आप उसको externally भी वो चीज reflect करने लग जाएगी. So then I got a simple messaging that people are getting this as that कि ये नाम से पुकारो. And somewhere I was also very casual to him. Hello Vivek, yes Vivek, okay Vivek, like that. So I don't take it as a good professional technique or a tactics to get closer to people, because somewhere people sooner or later will understand your character and nature. It cannot be hidden, right? But at the same time, you have to be very, very conscious that do not call your senior people by their first name. You can use the dear sir, or maybe his last name with hello Mr. Srivastava. You can use that, but do not ever use their first name, because it's sort of internally you might not be able to control what is happening, because it's a daily affair and you can't get to be conscious every time. So now this is where I always say that affirmations are positives and they are negatives also. So calling people by their first name who are senior to you is a negative affirmation, but appreciating people for what they have done again and again is a positive affirmation. Why am I telling you? आप कितना भी कर लो, when you are talking to a group of people and somebody says, you have been always helpful to me, I really thank you. Even if the person don't like it, but you are any which ways, calling him as a helpful person in the eye of 10 people. So it is a positive thing, even if he does not like it, but somewhere down the line, it is a real fact that the person will like it. Trust me. This is the out of experience I'm telling you. He will like it. So you always and always, before you are ending the email, before you are leaving the house, just say to that person, sir, you have been very kind, you have been very affectionate, you have been very, very, I would say, helpful and supportive to me always. So thank you for that. And then leave. Now this sort of clearly brings a perception in the mind of the person that this guy cares for me and has, or is a good relationship building hack. So when you do this, there is a possibility that the person is going to use this or consider you a little over others in the order of priority, because when they are going to sort their tasks at the end of the day, who is first, this will stick into his mind. Say, अच्छा उसका काम कर लेते हैं, वो देखो मेरी बड़ाई करता है, मुझे अच्छा मानता है, मेरे बारे में अच्छा बोलता है, right? It happens. It's a general human nature. It's a tendency, right? So, there are some characters of an Atman. Similarly, there is this character of a human. Even if he's a person who would not appreciate it publicly, but he will like it internally. So use this. So looking forward to your support as always is an affirmation. Okay? And again, before you leave the door, before you go out and say bye, remind that person what reason I came to you for. Remember, thank you for all the treatment, for all the good chai. Agar wo chai pilate hain aapko, good for the, thank you for the tea. Hope you will be ready with the preparations. That means you are focused. Even if you go out, before you leave, say yes. Now be ready with the preparation, because that was the purpose I came. So a thank you message clubbed with reiteration is a must. You can't miss on this. And if you do these two things, you're on fire. I'm telling you, you start using in your organization, see the difference that you guys get in your behavior, in your seniors' behavior. Okay? And then regard. Now, don't make this too much flashy, right? People write regards, respected, ye, wo, big. No. Keep it as simple as that, right? Generally, I personally have the habit of doing this. Trust me. That's all. That's all I do. Right? Because you're not writing, you're not writing an application, right? Where people would like to know your identity. It's okay. You just say regards. That's all. Do not even have to be too flashy about it. So this is the body composition, right? Now only one part is left, which is different types of emails for today. So which I'll cover after taking some more questions. Now I'm again open to questions, and team, shoot your questions if you have. Yes, everyone. I think one question is, yeah.
We have something in chat box.
Yeah, Paramveer is there. Hello, Paramveer, how are you? Are you there?
Yeah. I'm there.
Yeah. So Paramveer, we will be actually this is just a webinar session, and I'll be honest with you that we have to survive and we have to thrive for professional learners to come to NGEAR and pay us a bit for all this. So this was just a glance to help you understand this is the level of depth and width we have designed our course. So we might not be able to send you a copy or a soft copy of what we have done, but for sure we are going to check you what you have learned today or not. And I have made this special preparation for all of you today. But I would like to, since I've asked this question, so let me answer this right now, but I've kept it at the end. So we are going to send you, I've already opened it here. We are going to send you an introduction email scenario for today. And I have requested my all team members, especially the trainers, to be available throughout the day only for you guys. On Sunday, they are going to give this opportunity. When you write an email, I have given them full instructions on different subjects line, on different content and everything, how to judge you. And they are going to correct your email and send it to you by the end of day today. Okay, so this is only for today. Tomorrow they'll be engaged into work, so they might not be able to do it. So if you really would like to see how well have you learned or what all concepts have you grasped, please make sure you do take out 10-15 minutes time and send this to us from your personal email ID. The email ID will be shared to you in the after maybe the session is completed, in the chat only, right? I think Aditya, you can also share it right now. So it will be shared soon. So the only thing which I'm trying to tell you is that we may not be able to give you the entire thing, the Word file, but I give you an opportunity to write email and we will check it and respond. Okay. I hope you guys understand, everyone. I hope I answered your question, Paramveer. Okay. So, okay, guys. So now let's go to a different scenario today. I'm assuming you guys don't have any questions. I'll still call out for questions. Anyone? There are a lot of people. Any questions, anyone? Should we move forward? Chari, I'm assuming you guys don't have any questions. Okay. So now we have a formal instructional email where you are asking for Diwali preparation in your office. Okay. And you have concerned stakeholders you have to talk about. This is a general schedule of a Diwali preparation where 20th October, there will be a celebration day. And because on Diwali, people may not come, so we'll do it a little before. And you have to send them email and you have to make sure that there is some celebration planner which happens in the Diwali for them. So this is called a time activity chart. Generally, we always use this small chart in the email, embedded in the email. Now, earlier webmail can't have it, but now with Google Sheets, it is very easy. You can copy paste it, right? It's very simple. Why this time activity chart is important is because if you are posting about certain activities, it has to be in a reference to certain time. So this is pleasing to eyes. This is absolutely very crystal clear to eyes. Okay. Now, if unfortunately you do not post it or paste it with this simple time activity chart, then you might write it on pointers or paragraphs, which will be very cumbersome for people to comprehend and read, and maximum people will do mistakes. So this is very clear. They can immediately relate. Okay, 9 p.m. selfie with ethnic dress, and we have to post with on WhatsApp groups. So see, little quirky element also. No excuses, guys. You have to post a picture, right? And something which will highlight more about the activity is a simple hashtag on the different platforms, where if you want to see and judge for the digital marketing team what was the uptake, you can always do that. So I've just put it as hashtag Diwali with NGA. Okay. Now at 2 p.m. there will be a lunch, a potluck. Potluck, for people who don't know, potluck is a kind of an arrangement which is done within the organization where everybody comes with their own food and they share the food together, right? So that potlucks or games, right? Again, no excuses for posting the selfies. Gift distribution, there will be a lot of gift distribution which happens within the organization at the end, so we do gift distribution. And then wishing Diwali everyone, right? You go and hug colleagues, you greet people and wish Diwali. So there are certain resources. For example, we need funds to run all this. Admin or runner boy, there will be rearrangements of the tables, chairs, everything inside. There will be some games like Zenga, Tambola, or crackers, lights, rangoli colors, flower stickers, right? So this is the subject line. Simple Diwali celebration 20th October. Now you will read hello folks, right? Or everyone. Or simple, right? Hello Hungarians, right? Happy festivities. Now, as you know, the Diwali is approaching, and just like every year, we have planned Diwali celebration with Mol Dhamal and Masti. Now, a lot of people might say, why are you using Dhamal? Because Dhamal is not a casual word, right? But the reason why we are using Dhamal and Masti is because Dhamal and Masti are sort of words will fill a lot of energy and enthusiasm in the whole. So Dhamal and Masti is, because it's talking about Indian context, Indian festival, and you don't use these words, it might not be that interesting. So to make it a little more energy focused and something which is Indianism, we have used these words. We have planned out the day with some celebration and get together. And here is how it looks, right? The same time activity chart. Now, this simple time activity chart brings a lot of difference to the things. huge difference, because instead of actually seeing what is happening, you can always refer. Now you can bookmark or save this email as to see what is happening when, and you can refer to it again. So just don't think about the email, think about the future possibilities of how this email could also be utilized, right? So a lot of youngsters, what they will do is they will just save this email or bookmark it, and then they will open it up when they want. अच्छा देख तो लूं कि कौन से समय में क्या क्या है, मैं तो भूल गया कौन समय में क्या है. Now from there on we will now from here, Diwali is a festival of enjoying togetherness and warmth, so we would want all of us to participate in full spirit. So make sure you are available on 20th October in the office. Now a simple definition of being assertive is you are making sure that the reasoning is right, and you a small bit of compulsion. You have to come. You can't miss it. Why? Because it's an event which you're doing in the organization. It's an employer branding activity, and it's a team building activity also. Because when you eat together, when you dance together, when you play together, you sort of build a good, affection with the team, good bonding between others. So a lot of young people will say, "Arey Diwali hai, let's enjoy ourselves. I'll be watching Netflix. I'll be watching this." No, it's a must to come because it is going to be an important event for the organization. Hence, I'm assertive, for example. So make sure you are available in the office. Right? Next, your suggestions are welcome. So please suggest how can we make the day look even better. Share your ideas on or before 15th of October by replying on the same. Okay. Now, the reason why I said this is because I need some time to also filter those relevant ones, include them also. So give a timeline which is final and deliberate. And since it is not that important for people to notice it, only the ones who are going to send it, they will be entertained. Hence, I have not highlighted it. Okay. Now, this is the last line, which is a kind of a affirmation or the thank you and reiteration message that I'm writing at the end. That hope you all are excited to celebrate Diwali on 20th October and will make this as a success with your full participation. So very clearly, I have defined that, I want your participation, and this is a kind of a thank you and reiteration. Before leaving, I am just making sure that they understand the purpose, which is they have to come and they can't miss it. And again, affirmation, everybody likes, right? So look forward to your support a lot. Okay, everyone. So this sort of gives you a complete, understanding of introduction email today that we have taken in this. As I said, we have 3 different levels of modules, and very much in detail we get to emails. And this is something which we do day in and day out. So I'll give you a brief insight of what do we do exactly. So in corporate communication skills, we have creative writing, where we sort of brings a huge emphasis on storytelling, expression, paraphrasing, blogging, and pressy writing, which is like how can you write concise and crisp writing with number of words. So it is like summarizing the text, what you have in your mind, and put them into right order without compromising on the completeness and messaging. And as I said, we have 3 different layers of email writing skills. Then we also do a lot of individual presentation where we talk about interview skills, sequential interview skills, presenting a strategy, presenting data points and graphs. So there is a different storytelling which happens on just presenting a strategy presentation which has image and captions versus a presentation where it has you know graphical content, infographics, smart arts, graphs, bridges, everything. So a lot of time people don't crunch numbers, and people hate numbers. This is a general tendency. I'm saying if you're a data analyst and you are presenting it to a group of data analysts, you can't escape on the numbers. So that's a layered scenario. I'm talking about a linear scenario, a generic scenario. So always I'll give this disclaimer. Then the storytelling that you do with your data points, and to sort of figure that out, is going to be completely different. And nevertheless, when you talk about a comprehensive presentation which has both, which is data points and graphs as well as captions, that is going to be a different. So we do that completely. And then public speaking sessions where we talk about different scenarios where you're speaking one to one, one to many, and using your Vasai. This, these are basically the frameworks that we have designed. You might find it a little jargonish at this point in time, but in the topic of things when we explain, we will do that. And in our modules, the first 4 modules that we generally take care of is all about the fundamentals of English. Whether it's listening, speaking, reading, writing, you have to have this. And we don't teach grammar to be able to speak sentences, but rather we teach grammar for you to identify where are we going along. And this is what grammar is. Grammar is not always about how are you going to construct the sentences, because the moment you start constructing sentences and doing translation and transliteration, you are fooling yourself, because that's that's not the right way to approach things, because the language was born first and then the grammar came. It was not the other way around. And we then talk about this. The best point about NGEAR's program is that we have audio-visual recording done at least once bi-weekly or at the end of module, whichever is earlier. The purpose is that we want to see how quickly have you transformed yourself from a stage of learner to a productive learner. And the program is such where we sort of build a huge amount of presentations and a huge amount of confusions around different levels of cognitive ability, different levels of linguistic intelligence, and different levels of interpersonal skill to that. So I'll just take a moment to explain about simple things here. So the entire program is into 3 layers. The first is called cognitive ability, which is very critical and helps you to visualize, form actionable insights, and take care of the relevant thought pointers which you are going to use in your conversation. It has to be topical and relevant. So this emphasizes on your thought process. And next is linguistic intelligence. So we are talking about something which is related to the language science, which talks about your grammar concepts, idiom, phrasal verbs, conditionals, and in the later stages, sounds and pronunciation. And the third part is interpersonal skills, which talks about the different layers and different persona-based tools and techniques which you can use. For example, if I have to address to a lot of people, my eye contact, my facial expression, my body posture, my hand contact, how it should behave. So that's about the interpersonal skills. So whether it's your communication, whether it's your written communication, whether it's your speaking, all these things are needed everywhere. So the entire program is structured in such a manner. And I wish and I thank each one of you for attending the session today. It is absolutely a mesmerizing session for me, because I really found you guys sticking onto it and nobody left, which is a clear indication that it was a little more useful to you than other sessions. And if you have any questions, any doubts now, I am absolutely available and I'm available to discuss. Over to you, everyone. Any doubts, any questions? I'm now available. Yes. Any questions, anyone? Any doubt? Paramveer, Bindu, Madhuji, Mayank, Renuma, Shaija, I think a lot of people are there. Umanath. Any questions, any doubts, anyone?
Thank you so much. As always. Hello.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. As you are always best teacher I found in my life. And thank you so much for my revision. It's a good revision and I will definitely work on it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to have you all here and it was a great session. I personally did not see my watch, but I just saw it's almost like 2 hours gone, and I did not have even a second of I would say lull time or dull time during this session. So thank you everyone, all the best, and you will get a feedback recording. I mean feedback uh, link in the chat message. I think it's already here. This is the link, guys. So please use it to just give us a small feedback. It'll be really helpful. It gives us the energy and the uh, I would say motivation to come again to you with such webinars. And I am also posing up the questions which is for today for the email writing skills, right? So this is the question that you are going to be addressing to, and the email to respond to this is here. Okay, so I'm sending it again to individual people. We might also WhatsApp to you after the conversation, so don't worry, but do not forget to fill this one. It's must. Okay, for everyone, that's my humble submission. Please fill the feedback form. It's very, very important for us. Okay, guys, so thank you so much everyone. It was a wonderful session, and I wish each one of you a very happy Sunday ahead. Enjoy festivities, enjoy Diwali. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot very much. Session.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is
Thank you,
wonderful.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Man. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
सेशन का सेक्शन
I think only we are there. Please check.